Hi, I'm Anthony from bestbluesguitarlessonsonline.com. Welcome in this video where we will learn a very fast blues country lick. And this is a lick that is played with 3 scales, so we will also delve into the 3 scales that are being used here. So we are using the E major pentatonic at the first part of the lick. And this little part here, I will explain in a minute how to play it, is basically we are taking the notes from the E major pentatonic scale. It's really interesting because in the second part of the lick we're using notes of the E minor pentatonic, and this is being used a lot in this blues country style. So we are playing the notes from the E minor pentatonic scale in the second part. Of course I will explain how to play it. But in the third part of the lick, then we're using notes from the E blues scale. So we're playing in the key of E because all 3 of those scales are in the key of E. But we're starting out with E major pentatonic, then the E minor pentatonic, and then the E blues scale. And then the last part of the lick basically is just this. And here I'm playing a hammer on, so I'm shifting from a note from the minor pentatonic to the major pentatonic scale. And this is basically what makes this style so cool and complex. If you learn fast licks like this, it sounds like there's a whole array of sounds going on there, and this is because we're combining those scales, major, minor and blues scale, the major and minor pentatonic, that is, and then the blues scale. And so I will explain this lick tutorial based step by step, so you can follow along also in the tablature here. So basically we're starting out with the first part of the lick, which consists out of 5 notes, and it's a simple little thing here. As you will see, I'm playing it also not so conventionally for normal playing style, but for this playing style it is conventional to play it with hybrid picking, and I will explain the right hand, the dynamics that I'm using just in a minute. First, the left hand, I'm playing the high E string, this is the first note. Then I'm playing on the B string also the open B string first, but then I'm hammering on to the 2nd fret. I'm using the middle finger here. And then I'm playing the open E string again. So you might recognize this little lick from another video on this channel on easy blues licks. This was the Freddie King lick that we started with in the style of the Hideaway song. And then I'm also the 5th note playing the B string also again as an open string. So this is the first part of this lick. And you can see that I'm using here in my right hand hybrid picking, which basically is a model that is used a lot in this style, and we can use it for various benefits here. I'm using the ring finger here, and I'm also getting a bit under this high E string to get some pull out of the string. So because I'm having my ring finger under the string, I can snap it to the fretboard. And so when it snaps down on the frets, this is what produces this really high treblish, contrish sound. So this is why I'm using hybrid picking here instead of just using the pick. So it gives more of this twangy sound. So that's a really good idea to learn hybrid picking for this reason alone, if you haven't gotten into the hybrid picking part of blues guitar playing yet. So that's why it's a really good lick to study, the lick that we're studying right now. So you can see that I'm using the pick on the B string, and then I'm going back and forth between using the pick on the B string and then using the ring finger underneath the high E string. So each time I'm hitting the B string, I'm using the pick. Each time I'm hitting the high E string, I'm just using the ring finger. to get this twangy sound. So I'm just pulling it and slapping it against the frets. And then the second part of the lick, where we're using the E minor pentatonic scale, is being played like this. Again, I'm using the high E string and the B string, but here I'm doing a little pull off from the 3rd fret of the high E string to the open string, and then on the B string I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm starting out with the open B string, and then I'm hammering on to the fretboard 3rd fret. And then the last note from this second part is just the high E string. And again, I'm playing hybrid picking, same thing applies. So pick on the B string, then the ring finger underneath the high E string. And for the left hand, I'm basically just going for the ring finger here. You can also do what I just did right now. I wasn't using the ring finger on B string. You can do it with the ring finger, but I'm going back and forth between the ring finger and the middle finger, so it looks like my fingers have their own life. So I was doing this while I was explaining to you that I would recommend using the ring finger. So it's a ring finger then. And let's listen to the fingers they say that I'm using here, the middle finger, okay? So this is the second part of the lick, the minor pentatonic part of this long, fast lick. And then on the 3rd part of the lick, I'm using the E blues scale, which is basically this part. So I'm pulling off from the B string 3rd fret to the open string. Then on the G string, I'm sliding from the 3rd fret to the 2nd fret, and then I'm pulling off again on this G string. So it's one attack with the pick for 3 notes. So I'm picking the string, I'm sliding from the 3rd fret to the 2nd fret, and then I'm pulling off to the open G string. All with the same finger. Here I'm using the middle finger for this. And then the last note of this lick is just the D string 2nd fret. Alright, so this part of the lick again is B string 3rd fret, pull off to the open B string, then G string 3rd fret, sliding to the 2nd fret, and then in the same motion without hitting the string again, I'm pulling it off to the G string, so the open string, and then the last note is just D string 2nd fret. So this is the 3rd part of the lick where I'm playing the E blues scale. And then the last part of this fast country blues lick is just being played here on the G string. It starts out here with the open G string. I'm hammering on to the 1st fret with the index finger here. And then I'm playing the high E string just as an open string. And then whenever you want, you can add as an extra bonus here the low E string, just as a way to finalize this whole fast lick. And the way to study those licks is to isolate certain parts. That's why I went from part 1 to part 2 to part 3 to part 4, not only to discuss how all those scales are being combined together in this playing style, but also so you can practice each part separately. And this is a really important practice strategy, a practice tactic that the best guitarists use. Instead of practicing this lick from start to finish all the time, we need to first learn part 1, then part 2, then part 3, and work on the parts that you have most trouble with. And then you need to take those parts, repeat them over and over again, and then glue them together. So for instance, if you have part 3 down, you can have part 2 also isolated. You practice part 2. Sorry, this is part 1. Part 2 was this. And then you can practice this part 2 until you have it really down into your system. And I already discussed here on the channel how you can know when you mastered an exercise. So the same things apply here than in the video. So I won't go through them again, but if you haven't seen the video on how to know if you really mastered an exercise, you need to go watch it right now, because it will give you a lot of insight on how many repetitions you need and when you can stop practicing a certain thing. When do you know you really have it down? So I would really recommend you to watch this video on how to know when you mastered an exercise, because it applies here. If you practice this lick, you will feel at a certain point, given the criteria and the mastery video, that you have it down. So this is the whole lick again. Alright, and the hybrid picking part will also be of assistance to you and the speed building part. This is why we're also using hybrid picking here for such a lick. Not only because it's really recognizable for this playing style with the twangy sound on the high E string, but also because it gives you the ability to play really fast. Because we're just going back and forth between the pick and one of the fingers here, instead of doing all this work with the right hand and skipping over strings and doing, you know, string skips in general. So hybrid picking is the way to go for this playing style. You can of course choose to practice it with pick also. It would be a good exercise for your development as a guitarist. So if you want to practice it with pick, I would say go for it also. But don't neglect hybrid picking, because it's cool style. If you haven't gotten into it, I would recommend you to look at it. And I've coached a lot of students already with hybrid picking, and it's cool to see them using it also in their soloing, not only licks here, but it's a cool playing style for various musical styles. You can apply it to styles from blues to metal to jazz, so it's really cool to get into this hybrid picking if you want to. And also one more thing, if you want to go for the finger style exclusively, you can do that also. So you can practice this lick with only the fingers as well, and instead of playing with the pick here, so the first part of the lick here on the B string with the pick, you can of course go with the thumb. It is a bit less conventional, like in the classical world nobody plays with the thumb on the B string, but we're playing blues, so you can do it, you know. And it gives a cool sound, and it's also good to learn. Basically keeping the ring finger here on the high E string, but I'm playing with the thumb now instead of the pick on the B string. And so to go through this lick one more time slowly with the fingers is like this. So these are three ways to practice this lick. So first was hybrid picking. You can of course practice with the pick or with the fingers. And if you like this video, I would say subscribe to the channel, then you get all the newest videos live to your home feed whenever they are ready and uploaded here on YouTube. Also visit the website bestbluesguitarlessonsonline.com. I got a lot of people that said there are some really great resources for you to download for free. Got a lot of great feedback on this. And you can download, for instance, my Fast Blues Guitar Licks ebook that is filled with how to play fast blues guitar licks, advice and tips, and also the tablature of many of those licks. you will find in there. So see you in the next video.